Hello, everybody, and welcome to another community fortress. This one was sent in on the Discord by Kobold. This is the fortress of Crowtool. Now, this was their first fortress, as they describe it, and it lasted for 4 decades. This fortress has seen quite a lot of evolution, and I think the really interesting thing about this fortress is how they actually have done something that I always say that I'm going to do and then never do, which is start off with one portion of the fortress and build one side of the map and then move elsewhere. And it's kind of a neat setup. So we're definitely gonna have to go through this and give it the best look-see I possibly can, although the fortress does get kind of chaotic, so I'm inevitably going to miss some things. If you would like to send in a fortress for me and have a look at on this show, it might take me 2 months like this one, but if you go over to my Discord, there's a room called DF Save Sharing. Just kind of keep an eye on what other people are doing. In that room, share your save file with a couple screenshots and leave permission to be used in a video with the mods folder. If you are using any mods, Vanilla makes it easier for me to load it. But feel free to just chuck it up on the Discord, and I will do my best to have a look at it. As for this fortress, Kobold kind of talks about how it's evolved over time, and so I'm going to kind of start on this side over here, because I think this is actually the original fortress. So if I move up, there's a few different areas in this original fortress. There's these little trapdoors kind of going down, and then it goes down into this area that's now super overgrown. There's an old refuse stockpile filled with bones, and then down here there's some empty large stockpiles and a few rooms and stuff going on in here. And of course you can see these old bedrooms and plenty of other spaces around the edges. But like if we go down a little further, there's, things that look like they were either tombs or guild halls, and some of these are even still set up as offices and assigned to people, which I think is kind of funny. And then there's some tombs down here and some other stuff just below water next to the waterworks. And some general irrigation. There's some, once was, spaces for military to train and all that jazz. And it just kind of keeps going down and does kind of connect to things eventually. But if we go up, this is the new fortress over here on the right. We have these obsidian front doors and this kind of interesting construction. It almost looks like they were looking for color coding. And then there's this large obsidian structure that's just kind of printed into the mountain. I'm not sure if this was if some of this was natural obsidian or if they actually like 3D printed this. It kind of appears like a lot of this was natural obsidian and it was just kind of built off and then kind of extended, but it could also have been water at some point. It's a little hard to tell. But anyway, they dig into the dirt down here in the center, and there's some humans that appear to just be leaving. There's a military squad that are all defending main entrance, which means they're all thirsty and hungry. Well, I hope those dwarves get watered soon. And then as we go down, there's obviously this lava moat kind of set up. We can move down through the center of the fortress, and this is where the pumps came up to fill the lava moat. Looks like the pumps over here are made out of, mostly glass and obsidian. There's a tiny little power over top, and the power kind of goes along down the bottom to power it. The actual front entryway here, if we go back up to the top, kind of goes down here and then connects to, our first kind of space area for the dwarves. We got the Honey of Rock, which is a public tavern for all visitors, as well as a little dormitory in the corner. No dining room, just tavern, and there's a blocked staircase there and some mining operations going on, but we can move a little further down the stairs and we can see our initial power. So this is where things are going to kind of get tricky. There's a lot going on in here. So if we actually go down to the power room here, it's filled with dwarven power generators, which are pretty simple. You pump water up, and then the water goes down and around and basically creates an infinite loop of water flowing because it's flowing up from the top and then down around. Although all of this is currently shut down and not actually functioning right now. I wonder if they've turned all of this off for frame rate purposes, because the frame rate is quite low in this fort. And these are pretty frame rate intensive when they're moving. So it might have something to do with that, but there's a little hospital up here as well as some offices. And then over here, we got this water feature in the middle that is coming from this creek up top. So it is, water distributed down here. There's a whole bunch of levers here, all connected to these floodgates. And all of these floodgates release the water somewhere, I'm assuming, or used to release the water somewhere. A lot of them have been blocked. There's definitely some, things going on in this setup that I'm not totally sure their purpose like that, because this fort has had a lot of evolution and has clearly changed a lot over the years. There's a little goblin pikeman right here, as well as a bunch of artifact tables. This could be like a resurrection chamber, maybe. I'm not actually sure what this is, but there's definitely something going on in there. And as we move a little further down, we can also remind everybody that we are the mountain home, so we do have some stuff that's going to be at the basement that's going to be a little bit spoilery when we get there. So I will warn you before spoilers start to happen. And then as we move down, we can see other areas that the lava is used to, or other areas that the lava moves through. I mean, it's just been kind of sitting in that trench the whole time, right? It's a very deep trench. And then down here, we get to kind of our... this is where the baddies go to never come back, right? So there's a little locked door, I'm assuming, to bypass most of this and just go to that stairwell. But if you go up this way, you're forced to walk past all of these magma crabs. Now, I have a question for the creator of this fortress. I don't know if Dirk Kobold's still around my comments section, but if you are, does this work? Because these guys need to reload, believe it or not. Magma crabs do not have an infinite supply of lava. They only can fire like 2 or 3 globs before they have to go back to lava to get more globs of lava, because they literally have like little buckets that they use to shoot lava. So then as we move down, we can move down into this area. Now this area has this massive setup of lava, which is all dumped down into here. And then there's these little drains in the middle that drain the lava out and then off the side of the map, which is a pretty effective way to do it. Of course, the weapon traps to assist with all this. And then I guess like at the end here, they could... Oh, I see. They're also draining water off the edge. Or not water. Lava drains off the edge. That makes sense. So then they come down here, and then any extras get caught in the cage traps, and then any final stragglers get caught in those cage traps, and then they walk up and around here, and if anything managed to get through that, they get crushed here, and then they go down through these weapon traps, and then up through these weapon traps, and then over top of another cage trap, and that's why this is one of the most elaborate defense mechanisms I've seen in this version. And then we can follow this stairwell all the way down, which I think is finally our main stairwell, over top of even more cage traps, and then we keep going down and keep going down and keep going down and keep going down, and maybe this is actually our spoiler stairwell and not the main stairwell. So I'm seeing that we're flying past the majority of the fort here. I guess, to actually get into the fort, this must be the spoiler stairwell for stuff from the basement, but the actual stairwell into the fort. So, lifting the curtain a little bit here, when I film one of these episodes, right, I skim through the fort pretty quickly, but I never really look for, like, locations of where stairs are entering the fort. So that's okay. We got distracted by the wrong stairwell. We got bamboozled. Well, this makes sense. I mean, the enemies must get bamboozled. This must be the real entryway. So that's to just detract things from coming in from the basement. This must be the entrance to the fort, right? Well, there's dwarves. That's a good sign. Was that? Okay, that wasn't what I thought it was. I thought there was minecarts underwater there. This goes nowhere. Does this connect to the fort? Well, this seems kind of promising. So we've got these gold roads here. We got several of these. There's this kind of central area. I guess this must be the artifact hold, filled with all of these beautiful pedestals and glass. Well, what a lovely garden to go take a peek at. A garden of dwarven skill and craftsdwarfship. And then up here we have this interesting space, which seems like a prototype. It seems like they were trying to figure out if they can make rooms this way. Not sure what they were doing there, but it looks cool. We can now move down another layer, and this is the actual main fortress. So all of this gold floor all the way around to these bedrooms, this beautiful water feature in the middle, and then in the very center is this beautiful dining hall. This absolutely gorgeous dining hall. And then probably my favorite feature of this whole fort is we can move down another layer, and it's just open. I love it when people do that, like these big multi-layer areas. I think what I would do with this bottom bit down here is I would fill this up with a tavern or something, or like more dining halls. Anyway, there's bedrooms scattered all the way around, very nice large bedrooms. I'm sure the dwarves love and appreciate those. And then there's a hole in the center of the water feature, which keeps going down, keeps going down, keeps going down to this next fortress connector. Now, this is a lovely little set of rooms. You know, it's funny, like, I don't really like squares, but I really like rectangles. It's like, just build squares sideways. Then they look really cool. This is just awesome looking. We got this lovely little checkerboard pattern. You got all these little guild halls kind of scattered throughout everything. And of course, the very dangerous hole in the middle, which we will keep following down. And then down here we have, you know, a gym for all the dwarves pumping. I'm sure this corpse really needs the pumping practice. And then we've got, of course, bedrooms for the military up here, and more bedrooms for the military over here, and then a crossbow dwarf training hall, which is working miraculously. I guess they just have one type of ammunition on the entire map. And then down here is a kind of interesting looking room. I'm not entirely sure what this is for. Maybe it's, I see, it's viewing for an arena, clearly. It's definitely an arena with beasties at the bottom. More crossbow dwarves are training, and once again, I'm impressed these are working. The Sacred Spit, that's a really good name for a religious figure or a combat nickname. That's a really good title for that dwarf. I really appreciate that. Now we're going to keep moving down and see what else we can find. We're getting down to the lower layers now. We've got another beautiful temple layer. Lovely patterns to this one. And this one's almost like an insectoid. It almost looks like Yar from Yar's Revenge, if you ever played that on the Atari. And then we have this beautiful little statue garden and tombs, as well as places for dwarves who don't wake up. And we can keep scrolling down. And then we have some impulse ramps. So I think we're getting to spoiler territory now. So be a little wary here. But we have impulse ramps as well as the ability to flood this area with lava, I think. Either it's just the impulse ramps. The impulse ramps are essentially lava cannons. Yeah, I'm having a hard time making sense of this. Whenever I'm looking at my own minecart routes, they always make sense. When I'm looking at other people's minecart routes, they don't make sense. Anyway, long story short, this speeds minecarts up really fast and shoots them along this and probably sprays lava everywhere, if I'm not mistaken, so, of how this would work. It's always hard to look at somebody else's minecart setup and try to make heads or tails of it. But we can keep going down, and there appears to be more rooms for us to look at in the middle here. So we've got another one of these kind of insectoid-looking rooms. This one's filled with offices. This is the king and queen's quarters, as it should be, with the proper throne. Beautiful. I love the king's hold in the deep. It's a glorious space. Glorious. Then down here we have a bunch of zombies? That's a little dark. We got some books on some pedestals, and as well as, I guess, burial places to worship the dead, maybe? Not entirely sure what's going on there, but seems cultish. Moving down, got some open space. Some more open space. I wonder how long it took to dig this hole. Must have taken quite some time. And now I think we're getting into spoiler territory. So for those of you who are sensitive for endgame Dwarf Fortress spoilers, you may want to turn the fort off now. But we got a few more spaces dug out. And a few more spaces dug out. Aha, here we go. Let's see where they broke. We've got spaces where they could get down to lava if they wanted. I guess this was a magma forge before they pumped the lava all the way up. And it seems that we go down here. And, they actually breached down in the bottom left here. So they were using the technique where you smooth and then fortify the walls so they could peek through. And it goes all the way down to here. And as we can see, it's the hidden fun stuff in the great Underworld. We've got, what are you? Devil of Snow? Oh, you're probably not too scary. A leech composed of snow, wings, and a gaunt appearance. You'd fall apart. A child could kill you. Devil of Snow. More of those. We got Snow Spitters. These are also pretty weak. Gaunt appearance, Thornbill composed of snow. Hanging trunk. Yeah, no, that would also be pretty easy to fight. What about these? Spirit of Embers. Uh-oh. Fire. Bloated body, a humanoid composed of ash. Also very weak. You know, this is a hidden fun stuff you could actually fight. What's this? Scaly fly, a pair of squant antennae. It undulates rhythmically and its eyes glow amber. Its dark tan scales are blocky and set far apart. Beware its deadly dust. That one might be a little bit scary, depending on what the dust does. There's also these guys up here. Brine. Banshee of Brine. Very large, composed of salt. Squirms and fidgets. And then, a burning spirit. Okay, that sounds scary. The burning spirit is an enormous darkling beetle composed of flame. It has a deadly spittle. Not so bad. I mean, composed of flame is all right. It just means if he walks on grass, it catches fire. But yeah, no, this is a cool fort. It's kind of all over the place and a little bit chaotic, but in kind of a neat way. There's definitely a lot of things where I'm like, is this intended to be used for something now or something in the future, and it's just not used yet? So a lot of interesting stuff going on in this fort, and not a lot that I can really say about it, because this is so... You know, one of the things that I really like about this show is that there is so many different ways to play this game, and so many different ways to style a fortress and construct a fortress, that when I look at a fort like this, I don't even know how to talk about it or like critique it, because it's so completely and utterly different to anything I do, right? Like this manufactured forest here. I would never build something like this, but this looks really cool and I really like it. Especially like on this layer when you can like look down from the library. Like, look at this. This is awesome. It's just like this manufactured dwarven cavern. Like, it's super cool. I'm a big fan of this fort, but it is so far from anything that I would build that I have no idea how to even comment on it. Thank you very much for sending in this fortress, Dirk Kobold. And I look forward to anything else you work on in the future because this is very different and very interesting. If you enjoy this show and you would like to see more episodes like it, there's a good number of them over on this YouTube channel. And if you would like to support me directly, you can do that via my Patreon. That's patreon.com/BLINDIRL. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.